So, welcome everyone. Good to see you this morning. I wanted to talk this morning about setting intentions in our lives and in our practice. Excuse me. It's one thing to sort of read and understand the Dharma, but we really have to implement it daily, and that's where intentions come in and why they're so important. Because otherwise, we just kind of get distracted. We get involved in our busy lives, and the stuff just kind of gets pushed to the side. So I want to start with a quote from Shantideva. He was, some of you know, an eighth century Buddhist monk who lived in India, considered a real scholar, wrote a lot at the time. And he says, quote, this is his intention. May I be a guard for those who need protection, a guide for those on the path, a boat, a raft, a bridge for those to cross the flood. May I be a lamp in the darkness, a resting place for the weary, and a healing medicine for all who are sick. For as long as earth and sky endure, may I assist and until all living beings are awakened. And he used this to set his daily intention. Now, obviously, we can't set such a grandiose intention. We're not monks. We have busy lives, but it points to the importance of setting an intention and how in his time, and certainly in monks, this is part of their daily practice. But we need to set an intention, I think, somewhat more realistic, but nonetheless set out every day to use our practice, to implement our practice. And this is especially important so that we're prepared through our efforts for when we encounter challenges and encounter difficulties, which we know sooner or later are going to happen in all our lives. We don't know when, we don't know what, but we know that we're going to bump into challenges and difficulties. And these disruptions in our daily lives may be something minor like a flat tire or a significant loss, the whole gamut of things. And by setting an intention in terms of implementing our practice, we create a port in the storm, a refuge from the storms in our lives. So how do we do this? How do we set an intention or a direction in preparation for when these challenges happen? Creating a perspective to help us find our way through the toughest times when we feel overwhelmed by events, by strong emotions, and so forth. We want to be able to stay grounded in those moments rather than to digress into lots of second era stories and lots of additional suffering. And this is really where equanimity kicks in terms of setting an intention. So I want to focus specifically this morning on setting an intention with regard to equanimity. We don't want to wait until a crisis hits to try to implement or invoke equanimity. It's by then we're already in the middle of the storm. We want to cultivate it in our daily lives, so we have it in reserve. We have the practice pretty much established as best we can when we most need it. Okay. So when we're struggling, this is from Jack Kornfield. He says, "Quote: When you are struggling or in pain, remember, no one can help you as much as a quiet, clear, composed mind. When you are struggling or in pain, remember, no one can help you as much as a quiet, clear, composed mind." So, what equanimity really does here, it lets us reset that internal compass in the midst of a storm. It doesn't get rid of the challenge. That's going to happen. They're going to come. But it helps us stay grounded so that we make wise decisions and wise choices. It's an antidote for panic. It's an antidote for chaos. It's an antidote for unskillful action when we bump into something that really challenges us. So equanimity is actually the secret ingredient. It's sort of the secret sauce, if you will, of mindfulness. It doesn't mean indifference, as we've talked about in the past, which is the near enemy of equanimity. Equanimity can look kind of like we're cool and a little bit detached, as does indifference, but they're not the same thing. Indifference really involves apathy, giving up, not caring, being cold or distant. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about balance, staying grounded, that is born of wisdom and of our practice. So just a reminder that mindfulness is our capacity or the quality of awareness where our perception is not distorted, by biases, by second arrow stuff. It's not distorted by how we wish things were, by old fears, by projection into the future, by holding on to something tightly or pushing something away. We're cultivating a quality of awareness that really includes balance. Okay, so in this context, equanimity means that balance that leads to wisdom and skillful action in the face of challenges, crises, and the like. It's just so important in terms of just navigating the storms of our daily lives. Okay, and so it's only through mindfulness and only through setting an intention that equanimity begins to occur and arise in terms of our experience when we really need it. So we can see more deeply into what's going on, to understand it, to develop insight. That's the intention when we're talking about equanimity and talking about setting an intention for our daily lives. Because every day will bring multiple opportunities, big and small, to practice this intention of equanimity. Remember, of the four Brahma Viharas, the other three being loving kindness, sympathetic joy, and compassion, equanimity is really the one that balances the others. Okay, it underlies the others. Without equanimity, it's hard to practice loving kindness. Without equanimity, it's hard to practice compassion. Without an equanimity, it's hard to practice sympathetic joy. So we set the intention with the knowledge that today I'm going to practice equanimity, and by doing so, planting a seed, because I don't know what the ultimate result will be, but I know that I'll be better prepared when something comes along to knock me off balance. Equanimity helps me hold the ground in the storm. Okay. I rejoice in this planting the seed. I rejoice in feeling good about it. I rejoice in being prepared for whatever comes my way. That's the benefit of setting intentions in our daily lives. And there's none more important, I would suggest to you, than the intention of practicing equanimity. It comes with wisdom. It comes with mindfulness. It comes with presence, all the things we talk about. Equanimity underlies all those. It is a foundational practice. So much other good flows from equanimity that it makes sense to set an intention to practice it, to cultivate it every day. So let me stop there and get your thoughts. Let's have some thoughts about